Hello, more content time. You know what that means, more deck profiles. You read the title, it's Dinos, because I got bored of other decks, and I'm tired of losing, and I'm tired of people complaining about me playing Dinos, then me playing bad decks, and then me always losing, so I'm gonna bring back Dinos for a bit. Plus, if you think Dinos is broken this format, then you are bad, because you literally just stop it by stopping Misk. And by that I mean, of course, Ash, the Misk, and there's just too many ways. There's just too many ways to hit it. I understand people wanting to hit this on the ban list, but I mean, it doesn't really need to be touched. It's not doing anything. And at this point, I will mention the meme, have you read Misk? So let's just get right into it. I haven't really changed too much from the last time I've done this, but we'll get right into it nonetheless. You saw the top card on the monsters. It's Misk. He's still at 3. You must run him at 3. Guess what else you have to run at 3? It's Ovi. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit either of these on the ban list, but I really don't think they'd hit any of these. If anything, I think they'd hit Fossil Dig just to hit consistency, because this deck really isn't doing anything. But as long as these are at the ratios they are, you have to play it that way. And of course, play 2 Archosaur, because 3 is too many, 1 is not enough. It sucks to draw it and then not have 1 in the deck to go off with, so that's why I run the ratio I do. It usually ends up working out for me. For the babies, I am still running the 3 baby and the 1 petite pteranodon. I just think these ratios work. You want to see them in the deck in case you draw one, but it doesn't hurt to draw one as well. If you just so happen to open up a Misk or an Archosaur, then you can go off from there. If you need to extend further, I just find these ratios work best for me. You can cut these down if you want. This is really up to personal preference. I just find that ratio works best for me. Of course, we just leave in the 1 Giant Rex because it's just too good to run. It's a nice extender. It's a free level 4 dino, so you can go into rank 4 plays, and it's just too good not to do it. For this next one, shout out to Derek from Team Satisfaction and from my local. I'm going to try this out and see how it works. I'm trying 3 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and the reason for that is because everybody always expects Dino players to just play 2. So if you either go through 2 or you stop them from getting to the second one, if you then hard summon a second or a third one by just banishing 2 from the grave, Conductor's hard to deal with sometimes. I mean, it flips everything, it attacks every monster. If you don't have the answer for it, it's a problem. So if you're not planned for a third one, this can steal a lot of games. So I'm going to try this out and see how it works. I don't know how good it'll be, but I'm just going to test it out this week and see if it does anything funny. And then, of course, this deck can main deck / search Pankratops, so of course play that. And having a searchable Kaiju in the form of Dogoron is always good. Any deck that can search a Kaiju should play it. You can always side deck it out if you don't need it, but having a searchable Kaiju is always good. And then for the monster hand traps, I'm only running 3 Ash. I'm not main decking Bell or Meister because it does some stuff at my locals, but I'm tailoring this deck to my locals, so Ash just works the best. It's generically good against anything, so I'm just running that. The side deck will come in handy with that later, but I'll show that when I get to it. On to the spells. This is still the Extravagance build, so of course 3 Pot of Extravagance it is. You don't really need the extra deck in this deck whatsoever. You need maybe 1 or 2 cards. The extra deck is just the icing on the cake, so this card is basically a Pot of Greed for the deck. Plus, I mean, if it forces out an Ash Blossom or something like that, then you can pop off with your combo, so it's really nice. This card is just too good not to run. Do not run Pot of Prosperity. That card will not work with this deck. You can try it if you want, but having damage halved and then only getting 1 card out of it, it's not worth it. Just don't do it. Run Extravagance over this. You can do too much with Lost World, so 3 Lost World, 1 Terraforming. I understand if some builds want to play Mystic Mine, tailor your deck to your local if it works for you, but Mystic Mine's just not a good card, this format. If you need to fall back on Mystic Mine, then, I mean, again, tailor it to your local. I just can't justify a Mystic Mine in this deck. I don't have the space for it, and there's just other good stuff I want to run that works for my local. The card I actually think they're going to hit on the ban list if they hit this deck, Fossil Dig. The reason for that is it's not once per turn, and it searches any of your combo pieces. The only thing it doesn't search is Conductor, Pankratops, and Dogoron, but there's other ways to search those, and this is just... I mean, this card is just an insane consistency tool. Like, you already run big ratios of the other cards, and you have a non-once per turn Rhoda. I mean, it's just too good. And then 2 double evolution pill, because 3 too many, 1's not enough. That's generally the theme with this deck, even though I am tweaking my ratios of Conductor Tyranno this time. But that just ends up working normally. Then on to the rest of the tech cards. We don't like back row, so 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Feather Duster. And then we don't like our Miscellaneousaurus getting ashed or gammaed or what else? Meister. There's a bunch that hits it, which means you shouldn't be complaining about it. I'm kidding, you can complain about it, but I mean, there's literally too many answers to Misk. Most of them are in the form of hand traps. That's why we hope we draw the cheeky one of Called by the Grave. Konami, please put this back to 3. I'm tired of my Miscellaneousaurus getting stopped in the grave. All jokes aside, that's just the ratio of those spell tech cards that we run, because it always works out. And then something new I am trying. I am main decking 3 evenly matched. Now, this may seem strange because Dino is a blind going second deck that wants their battle phase and then wants to OTK, but the reason I am doing this is because 1, back row and big boards are a problem, so this either forces out a negation or it just clears the board. And 2, if I draw it and if I think I have my combo nonetheless, I can just try to combo off, and then if they stop me, I just go, cool, enter battle, end of battle, boom. And then it either forces out an answer or it clears the board. So it just ends up working out. I'm going to main deck this. I'm going to see how it works out. And that should be that. And I believe that is it to the main. Yep, that is it for the main deck. I believe I kept it down to just 40 cards this time, which is impressive for me. No, that is 41 cards. Just barely eked it out by 1. If I did my math wrong there, I am no mathematician. Oh well, that's the ratios I always think work. I mean, when do I ever keep cards down at 40? Oh well, on to the extra deck. There's not really going to be much different with this, only a few changes. The Exceed engine, 2 Dulka, 2 Logia, 2 Dweller. You have a pretty big rank 4 engine capability in this deck, so you can run pretty much anything you want, but I run Dulka and Logia just because rank 4 dinos, I mean, it's too good not to. This stops monster effects, this stops summons and spells, and then this is a graveyard format, so being able to shut off the graveyard is really good. I considered running some things like Baguska or Tornado Dragon, but I have enough back row hate as it is in the main deck already, and then there's just too many things in my locals that need the graveyard, so I have to justify running the Dweller instead, and then these are just too good as it is, and Baguska's not really that great of a card this format. Yeah, stopping monster effects is okay, but there's too many ways to clear it out, and there's too many decks that can just play through that regardless. Like, you drop Baguska and Eltlage just goes, cool, set 5, pass. So it's just not really that great. Onto your double evolution pill package, the 1 Almirage, the 2 Linkuriboh, and the 2 Secure Gardener. This is your standard play. This is for if you open up one of the babies and double evolution pill and you just need to be able to go into a normal monster as it is. So it's just for consistency help, and this is your normal combo. You can run more of these if you want, just so you up your chances of not banishing both with Pot of Extravagance, but this generally ends up working out. Famous last words. The 1 Pentastag, because it is too good if you are able to resolve it. Giving Conductor Piercing instead of just 1,000 can sometimes steal games or be really good in time. And the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, because I just had extra space for something else, and just another general back row hate is really good. Something new I am trying. I took out one of my Pentastags and Zeroboros for this. I finally caved on Zeroboros because I never make it. IP Masquerena and Avramax. The reason I'm doing this, you don't really need a big boss monster in your extra deck because Conductor does that job for you. But if you ever get to a point where you're just sitting on 3 or 4 monsters and you can just go into something, like, Avramax is hard to out. Like, if you make it with IP, it can't be targeted or destroyed, and then this is the only one that can attack, and then it always gains more attack points than a special summon monster. So this is really hard to out. If I can fall back on this, then like I really don't think there's anything in my locals that can deal with this aside from some, like, if they're running nobody's really running Dark Ruler, so nobody can really deal with that. But this is just too good not to run. It's hard for a lot of stuff at my locals to out, so I'm gonna try that and see how that works out. That's it for the side deck, or that's it for the extra deck. Onto the side deck. I'll always be running Droll because it hits Drytron and it hits a lot of other stuff at my local, so it's just too good to pass up. 3 Nibiru because there's too much that it deals with at my locals, and it's just too useful. And then I am side decking the 2 Skullmeister because it's still good for hitting other stuff in the format in general, and then in my locals as well. So I have to have some form of access to Skullmeister. So I'm just putting it in the side deck because I guess at this point I can't really justify main decking it. It hits enough stuff, but I just end up siding it out too many times. The 3 Dark Ruler, yeah, I want to kill them, but if they set up a big monster board, then that could be a problem for me. If Drytron sets up Ultimateness against me, or if, what else do we have? We have, like, Infernoble and Virtual World crapping out BFD. There's just too much that this works against, so I have to side it in just for other stuff to answer with. There's still some anti-monster stuff that comes in handy, so I am siding in the 3 Imperm. It's not really a great card this format, but it does enough in my locals to where it's useful if I run it. And then the 1 Red Reboot because we do not like back row trap decks, and if I just drop this, I can just kill them on the following turn, so that's just too good to pass up, even though it's just a 1-of. That is it. Yep, that's pretty much everything. Mostly standard stuff, just a few changes. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of the day.